This video is inspired by a common theme that I've noticed with some of my students that I've had the pleasure of being their educator and their mentor in this world of cinematography. A lot of the times there's a dissatisfaction with our work, especially as creatives, but what I've noticed in this case is an overwhelming trend that I guess looking back at the beginning of my career, I also noticed as well. It's not that we don't necessarily have the skills that we want to create the work that we want to showcase in our portfolio, but rather we're not teeing up our client expectations and more so our boundaries as business owners, and we're forgetting that we're actually business owners first, and that there's a process we have to take our clients through and not photographers, cinematographers, or colorists first. Let me explain how this client process is actually kind of the thorn in our flesh when it comes to being creatives, and what you can do to fix that and start producing the work of your dreams and having the creative freedom. What's good, everybody? For those of you guys who are new to my channel, my name is Sydney Baker Green. You guys have seen me introduce myself as many things: photographer, DP, cinematographer, colorist. Just a little bit of a backstory about me. I'm now 25 years old as of November 26th, but I started my business back in 2013, my junior year of high school. That is when I decided to step into the world of photography as a wedding photographer and start making money throughout this creative dream. And I've learned a lot throughout that process of learning and self-reflection, so on and so forth. And today I want to share with you guys one of the things I've done as a creative business owner that has allowed me to consistently create the work of my dreams and work that reflects my true capabilities. And that thing is setting up proper client expectations. Well, what do I mean by this? In the world of photography and cinematography, for some reason, we always struggle with creative control with our clients. And I find this baffling because you don't find that in many other creative industries. And so when I'm talking to my students about this, they're like, well, Sydney, I have to have some measure of listening to my client because they are paying customers. And this is very much so, right? This is part of customer service. But what I'm talking about is when the client is acting as the expert, right? And you don't find that in many other situations. For example, if I hired someone to construct a house for me, I may have my floor plans and my opinion and my vision about what that house needs to be, but I know better than to try to go and take a 2x4 and put it in the ground, and you probably use a 4x4 for that, because I know that all the little wolf has to do is huff and puff and my house will be blown down. I have no construction experience. But a lot of the times our photography or cinematography clients want to have creative control that they just know absolutely nothing about. A perfect example is one of my students recently had a shoot, and he's really big into color theory because that's what we just have been working on with respect to color grading in DaVinci Resolve and set design and how we can start our color grading in pre-production. But time and time again, the client kept taking that control away from him, and so he ended up dissatisfied with the shoots because the colors were off. It made his life harder in post-production, and overall they had lighting problems and just everything that could have been avoided had you listened to your cinematographer, right? And I'm pretty sure you've been there before too, where you have an amazing idea on how a shoot should go, but then all of a sudden your client takes that control away from you and you're in a situation, well, what do you do? So today I'm gonna tell you guys just a few of the things that I like to do on how we can remedy this situation. And first of all, it's called knowing your worth. I'm gonna be straight up with you. All of my students have a voice, and we straddle this being nice and giving the client with what they want with telling the client what they need, right? Well, how do we do that? Well, the first thing is, I like to call it reading our clients. On any initial consultation, I'm going to have a conversation with my client, and I'm gonna tell them about my process and what I expect. And then I'm gonna watch their reaction to what I'm telling them. This is my opportunity to do the biggest thing I have in my arsenal, my biggest nuclear button, the word no. We're not a good fit. We can't work together, right? That's a boundary for me. If they don't react properly to the creative control that I'm going to need, and then I'm not the cinematographer for them. I'm not a cameraman, I'm a creative artist, right? You can go find tons of cameramen, but I'm not the cameraman for you, right? I'm not a robot. I have a vision and we're gonna work through this. So after I tell them kind of and set up this expectations, remember, we need to have a process as business owners where our clients are not just booking us, but we're also booking them and agreeing to work with them. So that's the biggest thing that we can do, is formulate a process where we have questions and we're letting them know what needs to happen, what we're gonna need from them, and then what they can expect from us and the control that we want to have in the shoot. And if they don't like it, find somebody else to shoot your video. There's tons of work out there, and that will come with your marketing too, which is a video for a different time. But that's the biggest thing, the power of no. So after we have our initial consultation and we go through and we talk about these things and we're in agreement that I'm gonna have X, Y, and Z creative control, these things are within my artistic release, all fine and good, you have it verbally, but now you need to have it down on paper, right? The next thing that we talk about is our contracts. We need to make sure that our contracts list what our duties are going to be and what aspects creatively we're going to have control over in the process. For example, as a photographer, I say that you've reviewed my work and you have a clear expectation of my artistic style, and this is the work that I will be producing for you. Which means I may listen to your ideas, but I'm not obligated to do anything creatively that you tell me to do. It's gonna be nice for me to do so, right? And I do work with my clients, but I'm not obligated in this situation to take into account your Pinterest board, for example, right? So that's how we kind of go about doing so. Talking about that my style is ever changing, that's another thing in my contract that protects me, right? So when I do have a new technique that I want to implement at, say, a wedding or a shoot that I'm shooting a commercial for, right? My style is changing and I may do something, but I'm protected in my contract, and I can talk to my clients about, this is the agreement that you've signed and this is where we stand. Please don't breach this or we can go to court. So making sure that we outline our roles, what we're going to be doing creatively, is very important within the contract sphere itself. If you have a hard time coming up with contracts, I have a link in the description down below for a client resource management portal that I have, and I have taken their template that they gave me, which is a great starting point, definitely protects the business owner, and then I worked hand in hand with my attorney to find the weak points in that free template. But the nice thing about this is that I found so far that this isn't a free contractual template that benefits the client, it protects the business owner, and to be honest, in the world that we have where it's really unfair, that is something we need. So keep in mind your contractual obligations. So we've done our first two major things so far. We've interviewed our client, let them know what our expectations are as far as the creative control we need, right? So we've told them boldly what we require. We read them, see if they're a good fit or not. And then if they agree to those terms, then we get them down in writing. That protects us legally, and then it also gives us back a reference point for conversation. Now that's the third point, conversation. We have to figure out ways and become better communicators and also listeners with our clients to help them understand why we're not gonna budge on our creative decision, in our creative direction. Why is that? Because delivery does indeed matter. And that is really where we have to start thinking like our clients. What are their pain points? And how can I show them that by not listening to my creative direction, this isn't going to work out in their favor, and this is going to create a product at the end that they don't like, right? And that comes from knowing the fears that they have and then working with those fears in line with the way that you put your words. You definitely need to adjust this with every client, and it takes getting to know your clients and what they don't want, and then realizing how you can protect them creatively with that as long as they listen to you. And that's really the big thing, is becoming better communicators as business owners with respect to customer service. Customer service does not mean we allow people to walk over us. That also doesn't mean that we bully people, this is my way or the highway. We have to be very tactful and crafty with our words and the way in which we present our topics to get our point across. And at the end of the day, if that communication doesn't work, you have your safety nets. We have that verbal agreement, we have that contract now, and we've communicated. I'm gonna start doing more videos like that where we just talk about these business things, because that's really the hindrance sometimes in our creative lives. And especially as young entrepreneurs, we don't always think about the fact that we're not just going out and living our dream. We're such an idealistic group of people that I'm gonna become a photographer, have my camera, I'm gonna live my dream. No, you're starting a business too, and we have to remember that. We are business owners first, creative entrepreneurs second. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications if you have not. Be sure to follow me on my social media. The links are in the description down below, as well as the YouTube fam. Their links are also in the description down below. And my beautiful people, be sure to leave me a comment down below on any other topic like this that you would like to discuss. I have tons of topics that I can't wait to share with you, but I can't wait to share with you the wealth of knowledge I've gained since I was a little high schooler who had no idea what he was doing, who didn't have the resources or a mentor really to help him navigate this new field. Remember guys, now more than ever, if you are ever feeling uninspired, uncreative, or just want to give up on life, every day airplanes take off against the wind. Keep climbing, stay inspired guys, and as always, stay fabulous. My name is Sydney. I will see you beautiful people next time. Peace out.